We had the opportunity to explore Detroit, a city renowned for its ties to the automotive industries and is the birthplace of Motown. During our visit, we made it a point to pay our respects at some of the notable resting places around the city. Here are a few of the remarkable graves we were able to visit. So this is the Rosa Parks Freedom Chapel, but this is locked up, so we can't go in and visit her, unfortunately, which is fine. But it's a really nice building. It's a nice chapel. Very nice chapel. Rosa Parks was born in 1913 and died in 2005. Rosa Parks helped initiate the civil rights movement in the United States when she refused to give up her seat to a white man on a Montgomery, Alabama bus in 1955. Parks and her husband Raymond moved to Detroit in 1957 after they lost their jobs and faced harassment and death threats in Montgomery, Alabama. She was entombed in this mausoleum along with the bodies of her husband and mother. It was announced over 20 years ago that the famous bus Rosa Parks changed history on would be auctioned off, and members of the Henry Ford Museum in Dearborn, Michigan caught wind of the news through the Wall Street Journal. Soon after they investigated, they were convinced that it was the famous bus. The Henry Ford Museum staff began to bid for it. The bid began at $50,000, but the staff ended up paying $492,000, beating out notable bidders such as the Smithsonian Institute and the City of Denver. You can visit the bus. It is only 16 miles away in the Henry Ford Museum. I think most of these are from the early 20s. The Dodge brothers died of the Spanish flu.
Almost all the dates I'm seeing are like mid to late 20s. These ones are all like 25, 26, and this Wheeler one. And we got our truck following us.
He always does.
Just keeping an eye on me. He knows you're a wanderer. This one looks pretty cool.
Dunson.
Van Duzen.
Where do you see Van?
Van Duzen.
Oh, Van Duzen. I didn't see the van part.
And then this is a Wheeler. Like I said, these were all...
But this looks more modern.
The latest one here is 2012.
Warren, Homer Warren. That one's really big over there.
Yeah, that's probably someone important.
James McGregor. Yeah, Homer Warren, that big one up there. There's a really big one over here where I'm walking to. Almond, Allmand. And then we're going to try to find Edsel and his wife, Edsel Ford. Bohn, Bohn. A lot of German names. So this one, Ducharme. Ducharme. I can actually look inside that one, but you know what? I'm not big on that. I mean, look at this one. Thing's huge. That is Cozen? Couzens. Thing is absolutely huge. Shepherd, Stanley. The famous car manufacturers Horace and John Dodge are buried in the Dodge Mausoleum. Both brothers died from complications of the fourth wave of the Spanish flu in 1920. Even though they died many months apart, it is thought they contracted the flu together while at a car show in New York, but then later died of complications from the flu. John died January 14, 1920, at the age of 55 in Manhattan, New York. His younger brother, Horace Dodge Sr., died later that year on December 10, 1920, at the age of 52 in Miami, Florida. Just the year before, Henry Ford bought out the Dodge brothers' shareholdings in Ford Motor Company for $25 million. There are several other Dodges buried in the mausoleum. Their sister Daphne Dodge Ashbaugh, Horace's wife, son, and daughter, Anna Thompson Dodge, Horace Elgin Dodge Jr., and Daphne Dodge Gotti. John's first wife, Ivy Hawkins Dodge, and their children, Isabel Dodge Sloan and John Duvall Dodge, are also buried in the mausoleum. It's a nice little lake area. A lot of geese. Oh, and that's nice.
There is someone's plot in the middle of the lake.
Kind of a real Anderson.
Oh.
Oh, wow, this is beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
So I think Edsel and his wife they're buried over here.
Yeah, that looks like the chapel one.
Yeah.
Look at that heron.
Oh, that's a heron.
Yeah, that's the one making all the noise. It's up in the tree right there.
Oh, look at the turtles. You see the turtles?
Not yet.
They're right there on that log.
Oh yeah, I see them now sunning themselves. Big old heron. Also noisy.
So this is Anderson. And again, I'm not going up to the door. I actually feel that's disrespectful. So I'm
It is if we didn't bring gifts, flowers.
right. This is called Willow Lake.
How was the heron making all that noise?
This one's interesting.
He lived 1891 to 1954, and Ernest was 1892 to 1967.
Kanzler? Canzler?
Josephine play Kanzler, and Ernest.
And this beautiful pond. Very nice. Here's the Fords.
With a goose visiting. Couple geese. We've got a little track around it.
They're right on the pond, on Willow Pond. I got Edsel and his wife.
Who's the third?
There are many Fords buried in this plot. Henry Ford's only child, Edsel Ford, and his wife Eleanor are buried here. Several of Edsel's and Eleanor's children are buried here also. Benson Ford Sr. and his wife Edith Ford, along with William Ford Sr. and his wife Martha Firestone Ford. And yes, it is that Firestone. Henry Ford and other Fords are buried at the Ford Cemetery located on the other side of Detroit, which we will visit later in this video. Aretha Franklin is just across the street from the Ford plot. Aretha was honored as the Queen of Soul. Rolling Stone magazine twice named her the greatest singer of all time. So let's go visit Aretha Franklin. It's kind of a mildewy smell. 185.
It looks like a lot of this furniture's been here 40, 50 years.
Yeah. So Aretha is in one area, and then her sisters are right on the other side. So as my daughter just said, they're touching. So I don't know if she was cremated or not. A lot of people that are buried in.
These are pretty big, so
Yeah.
they might be
It is a pretty big one.
entombed.
The final resting place for many from the Ford and Rudiman families, including Henry Ford, are buried here at the Ford Cemetery. The cemetery resides on the grounds of St. Martha's Commons, which was purchased by Henry Ford's great-grandfather George Ford. The former St. Martha's Episcopal Church building is also located on the grounds. The building was built by Clara Bryant Ford and named in the memory of her mother. Clara was Henry's wife. This area is actually a very rough area. At least we felt uncomfortable. The building has been closed down for years, I'm told.
All right, so Henry bought this property and made like a family cemetery. There's this really nice Trinity church. So his mother, I believe, is buried here. Many of his family members. His wife, Clara. So, and there he is. They have him, he and Clara, underneath this guard, so nobody disturbs their graves. So Clara Bryant Ford and Henry Ford.
There's more Fords in here than Model T convention.
Yep. So there's a lot of headstones that say Ford on it. So let's take a look at some. At Pearson, Ford. That's Ralph and Gladys.
I think this is Bill.
Those are all Fords back in there. Lewis Ford. Pearson, I believe, was his mother's family. Here's some more Fords. Mary, John, William S. Ford. There's a lot of graves in here too, unmarked. Those look like foot markers. Mabel and Raymond. Those are really old. This is Eliza. I see John, but I can't make out, at least right now, I can't make out the name. But these are like from 1879. This one's also very old. I want to say John Brown, 1880 maybe. It's hard to see. This is wife of Samuel and daughter of G.M. Kennedy. Samuel Ford. In memory of Howard Ford. He died in 1890. So they've had this cemetery for quite some time. Yeah, a lot of these are really old. And the neighborhood's not great either. So, it's right off this very busy road. It's a lot of empty buildings. that have, that have been destroyed and burnt out. And you can tell people have just really come in here and, knocked some of these down. But some of these are very old. So, yeah, Ford Cemetery.
The lamb on this one
Yeah,
must have been a child.
must have been a child. But you can't read it really. The one with the lamb. So
We got